My guest is Lisa Biritz. She's a shamanic practitioner and teacher. She learned shamanic practices from the work of Sandra Ingerman and Sun Bear. She leads seminars and organizes unique experiences such as encounters with wild dolphins and whales. And she's the author of numerous books, including The Shamanic Star Wisdom Oracle and her new book that we'll be talking about, and other things, is the shamanic soul retrieval, calling back lost parts of the self. So Lisa, welcome to the Magical Mystery Tour.
Thank you so much for having me. Hello, Tonio.
Mm, it's wonderful to have you. I loved the utter simplicity of this book and your approach to shamanism. For so long, for many years of reading about shamanism, it has always seemed to be cast in a mist of kind of unreachable esotericism. And you make it so natural and down to earth and fundamental to a balanced and harmonious way of being with ourselves and the world around us. And also reading your book has helped me to realize that I've been sort of on a shamanic journey since my childhood.
Yes, thank you. So, the simple approach is intentional because, like you say, there's a lot of mysticism that surrounds shamanism, even though it's the oldest human healing system that we know of. It goes back 30,000, maybe even more, probably even more, anthropologists assume. And it's very natural to us. It's very nature connected. We are also a part of nature, of the world. And the techniques are the same anywhere on the planet in shamanic indigenous cultures in our backgrounds. If you take away the specific languages and cultural traditions and different values, the techniques that are used are the same everywhere, which I find fascinating. And the heart of shamanic health lies in having a complete and full soul, and that's what I focused on in this sweet, short booklet, so that readers, it can be really be read in a day or two, or depends on how much time you want to give yourself. And it's meant to invite, to explore, and not to scare off. And about yourself, yes, I'm very curious to hear about your shamanic journey since your childhood, if you want to
Mhm.
share.
I'll share very briefly. I've spoken more in depth about this when I've spoken to other shamanic practitioners in the past who have also really helped me recognize that aspect of my life. Um, Around the age of 9 or 10, after spending a year living in southern Spain, um, I had a series of experiences every night going to sleep where I was taken into these very deep places over, every night over a period of time, including what seemed like a kind of a death experience where I sank very deep into like an infinite darkness. And then I would suddenly begin to propel myself desperately out of it, rocketing up through many, many layers of darkness, and then physically leaping out of my bed, gasping for air. I also had repeated experiences of traveling along a kind of kind of natural geometric kind of Gordian knot, and other experiences as well. I wasn't accompanied by any beings or any other presences during it, but before this began to happen, I had one of perhaps the only time that I've been spoken to out loud from the other side. A voice said, "You're going to go through something very difficult, but it'll be all right." And then it began, and I don't know how long it lasted, but it seemed like it was happening every night for a period of time. So that was my conscious beginning of all of this.
It started very young and very early, and it's wonderful that you have a memory of that. And it sounds like you were being prepared for difficulties coming up, and it shows again that in the matrix, the energy behind everything in which we work shamanically, there's not a sense of time. There's a sense of what we would call in our human limited description as a simultaneousness. So there was already an awareness that something would be coming, and it sounds like you were prepared, and with possibly, I'm guessing, with this preparation, it helped you through it.
Yes, and it also helped me deal with a lot of psychological and emotional trauma that I was going through repeatedly during my childhood.
Yeah, that's what I was guessing. Mm-hmm.
So I needed a lot of healing, which I have, which continued for many years.
I hear you.
Hmm. And it's very common, very
Yes.
common for people on these journeys.
Well, I have a secret for you that maybe you know it's not a secret anymore. Everybody has a journey of healing in a different way. Everybody. And everybody, once you really, I've worked with so many people, thousands of people over the decades, and I've watched people, observed people, and everybody has some type of healing to go through, even though it may be very different and look different. And that's part of our journey of being a human on this planet. And
Yeah.
the universe is patient. Either we can do it and progress and move on in our inner journey, or if we don't do it in this lifetime, then it'll come again next lifetime, until we're at the point that we're ready to embrace and look at whatever wants to be felt, healed, understood. Yeah, this whole process.
Hmm.
Sucks sometimes, doesn't it?
It can, especially when we resist it,
Yeah.
because sometimes it'll come after us and beating down our door to
Why
get
can't life
to
always just be a party? But you can party better and enjoy better if you go into the deep and dark areas.
it. Exactly,
You really can.
exactly. Mm. I totally agree with that. Life becomes so much more delicious once you've gone through all of the other challenges.
Yeah. The
I don't know
sun's
what it, I have no idea what it's like to not have to go through all those challenges, so I can't speak to that approach.
Well, that's why I'm telling you, everybody has at some point to go through some type of challenge and healing. And some people like you, it starts early. Yeah, for me, it also started early. And other people, it may start in the middle of their life, and some people later in life. And it comes in different ways. Yeah, sometimes in ourselves. Sometimes it's through a family member or a loved one to go through, to watch them having to go through healing. It's always a reflection of ourselves. So yeah, nobody's exempt from this.
Mm. So how did this journey begin for you? And and what did you have any interesting experiences and challenges in your child early in your life?
Yes. Yeah, I think otherwise I wouldn't have gone on this path so soon. But yeah, there were a lot of challenges, and also similar to you what you were describing. And I, at a very young age, already perceived the invisible world around me. I perceived spirits, star beings, nature beings, all kinds of things around me that are not in the material world but that were still there. My family put it off as a very vivid imagination, and but I knew that that wasn't true. Luckily, I never let that get to me, though I did over the course of especially middle and high school, I did kind of forget about these things or not deal with them as much because, at that age, you're just more concerned about what your peers think about you and managing to somehow get through school, middle school, and high school, and all the dramas of puberty. And what do I look like? And what am I supposed to wear? And how am I going to get, what am I going to do after high school? But very shortly after, it didn't take long, just 2 or 3 years, I was remembering, and right back in the spirit world, having to do with just issues that I had to deal with, health issues and also emotional issues, where I noticed that I wasn't getting anywhere with regular therapy or medicine. It just did not help. And then I turned to alternative types of healing, tried a lot, and shamanism was the one that really worked for me. So everybody has to find the methods that work for them. There are so many paths to healing. This is absolutely not, the path for everyone. And but for me, it worked really well. And then over time, I wanted to learn and understand it. And then I learned, I traveled, I had amazing encounters, experiences, and then at some point I started teaching, writing about it, working with people, and it just blossomed. And now I'm 57, looking back on, oh gosh, over 30 years of experience in this lifetime, I guess. And I love it. I love it. It's just opened doors for me, opened a different view, just watching other people go through healing. Yeah, some people I only saw once, but some people I still am connected with one way or the other for decades, and it's just wonderful when you see that it not only has helped yourself but also other people to live a balanced and fulfilled life full of love and joy and health. And when the challenges come, because they don't just stop, they continue. There, this has definitely brought me techniques where I feel like that no matter what comes, I have the tools to deal with it and to work with it. And that's so empowering and gives a lot of trust in life. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, this work, what I found is it took it's taken many, many years, but through this work, I've been able to bring myself, my sense of presence into the world around me, even when I'm facing major challenges. And I can forget, I can get distracted, but I come back very quickly.
Exactly. Yeah. We all get
And,
distracted sometimes.
and it was interesting when you were talking about how you forgot it all during your teenage years in school. I remember the exact same thing happened to me as well. Um, it's so that that part of our lives is so seductive and so powerful and so overwhelming.
Oh my
Um,
gosh, yeah.
and I remember as soon as I got out of high school, my immediately in my freshman year of college, that all shifted. It shifted back almost, yeah, pretty much immediately. Yeah, the doors started opening again as I started exploring. Of course, I I took a Eastern religions course, which helped,
Oh wow,
and
yeah.
I was nothing grabbed me until we got to Taoism, and then I went to the library and found a book, and the book came alive for me, and that began my quote unquote spiritual journey in, a living spiritual journey, not just an intellectual thing.
Exactly. Not an intellectual journey. That's for me also what shamanism is about. It's grounded. It's connected to the earth. It's about really getting down here right into the mud. With that, I mean not escaping in some higher philosophy and not feeling yourself. It's like getting right down into what it really means being a human with everything involved. It's messy.
But it also includes the other side, which our Western culture
Exactly.
denies,
Exactly.
which and that's that's a paradoxically tricky thing to integrate into a grounded experience on the earth.
Yes, if you're only connected to what your eyes can see, then it is tricky for people. When you understand that it's all a big mystery, where we come from and why the heck are we on this planet and what is the universe around us, then you can start integrating it. It's a mystery. Oh, yeah, that's also the name of your show, isn't it?
It is.
It's part of the name of your show,
Mm-hmm.
which I love.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah.
mis- the mis- the
The
mystery.
tour. The
Yes,
tour. Yeah. Yeah.
it is a tour.
So
Yeah.
it is a tour. Yeah. And a lot of language difference between a lot of these approaches, like shamanic language and spiritual, mystical, the depth psychology, shadow work,
Yeah.
which are all related.
Yes.
Um, so let's dive into this notion of soul fragmentation and the fragmentation of various parts of ourselves and how that occurs and the many ways that it can occur because it is a universal experience, human experience.
Yes. So you can, in the shamanic traditions, you can imagine your soul as a ball of light. Yeah, in Hawaiian shamanism, in Huna, for example, they literally talk about the bowl of light, your light in a bowl when a person gets born, and then over the course of our lifetime, we lose parts of this light, through bigger and smaller traumatic experiences. Yeah, any type of violence or accidents, heavy illnesses, mobbing, bullying, having to move even though you don't want to. I mean, the whole bandwidth, also even during birth, if it was a heavy birth, parts of our soul will leave because at the time there was no way to deal with the pain of the situation. Yeah, if we're ideally, if we have an ideal life, then of course there's going to be somebody around us, mother or father or community, family, who when we cry, when we're upset, will come and hold us, will nourish us in the same as we get older, but we know that this is not always the case. And it starts when we're children, and if we don't have a way to deal with those painful feelings, a part of us will dissociate and not be with us anymore. But this energy, it's called in psychology dissociation, but this energy, it doesn't disappear because energy doesn't dissolve. That's the theory of relativity, which shows this. But however, it's not available to us. And certain aspects will leave with the painful memory because we don't want to feel it, with the painful feelings, with the qualities, for example, love or trust in life or playfulness or creativity. These aspects of us will leave as well. And in this shamanic soul retrieval work, you just regularly bring back bigger and smaller parts that have left you, which is not so hard to do. We can do it ourselves. Harder issues, it's good if somebody who's trained in it does it. The problem is in indigenous societies who still or did live that way, this is done automatically, like we brush our teeth regularly, so regularly a soul retrieval is done. But obviously in our Western world, we've never done that. And so by the time we're adults, pretty large parts of our soul have left, and we all feel it. We feel this emptiness that we try to compensate with materialism, with addictions, with food, with work, with whatever. We try to stuff this void in ourselves. And the answer is actually bringing back these energetic parts of our soul. And that's what this book is about. How it happens, why it happens, the cultural background, the shamanic background, how to do it, and how to prevent it from happening again, and looking after yourself. And I'm sure you know there's people who are elders who have figured this out and who are very, very vibrant, energetic people at a very high age. And then there's young people who seem older than older people. And that has to do with this soul energy.
The life force being
Yes.
able to flow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as we approach how to deal with soul fragmentation, where do these parts of ourselves go metaphorically? And because you say that it's energy, so it can't disappear, it can't be eliminated, but it, from an embodied sense, it does seem to have left us, or it becomes inaccessible
Yeah,
to us.
yes, it's inaccessible, yeah. For until we get it back. Well, from what I learned and from what my experience over the decades working with many, many people, and also with myself, it depends. Some parts, fragments of our soul are actually still very close to us. They're just in our energy field, just outside of it. And other parts of our soul really have disappeared to other dimensions. And that is sometimes really intense soul retrieval work, bringing those parts back. Some parts of our soul even left us in a past lifetime through something that happened then, and is also in a different dimension, or in a different, sometimes also in a different world. different planetary solar system. I've experienced it all. It's really interesting. Really interesting.
But because we are connected to a realm on the other side of this physical realm that's actually beyond time and space, those are not really limitations.
No.
It can just make it a lot more difficult for us to even to conceive that we can do that kind of work,
Yes.
successfully.
Yes. Yes. It's actually not that hard once you open yourself to allowing it to happen. It's the mind that blocks us from being able to do this work easily. So I in my courses I regularly have people who are just, we know it all when we get stuck in our head. It's just really hard to get there. So then first we have to work on just letting go of conceptions in the mind and just allowing things to unfold in the matrix, in the energy behind everything in a way that we cannot conceive, just allowing it. So that's very, very interesting. I was going to say something else and now I forgot it. Oh, yeah. And the soul parts, they also sometimes are stuck in the place where something happens. So, for example, if somebody had a heavy operation, that soul part of theirs might be still stuck in a hospital. So, really interesting. Hospital shows up a lot in soul retrieval work. And when I go there with my helpers to bring back the soul parts, there's like whole clusters of souls in hospitals. It's really gory, all those soul fragments and energy. And then you have to make sure that you get the right one. There's so many there hanging around. There's like literally like, looks a little like grapes, yeah, clusters of soul fragments. So certain places will have, where the event happened, a lot of times the soul fragment will be as well. Or it has tried to come back, that happens as well, but somehow it gets lost on the way. It just does not know how to find their person again. So, and then they also need some help and support, obviously.
Mhm. Yeah, it's very interesting. Because I don't have any of those visual gifts of seeing spirits or other beings, my my orientation has been very formless, which in a way can be very disorienting, but in another way, I found it to be very comforting. It's been my home on the other side and integrating that other side into my wholeness. But it's distinctly different from most of the people that I've spoken to and who tend to write about these things, because it seems like many of the people who are actually writing and talking about these things have more visual, or at least hearing voices, hearing something in a somewhat tangible way. So that has been a kind of an obstacle for me, in a sense that it contributed to my sense of my lack or my unworthiness.
Well, you shouldn't let that get in your way, and you can trust your feeling and your instinct. I'm guessing that this has been part of your journey, your healing journey, learning to completely trust your instincts, your gut, your feeling. And you do not have to see to be able to do this work. I also have people in my courses every time who describe the same as you, and people are connected in different ways with the invisible world. And for many, quite a lot actually, it's through sensing, through feeling that something is there, or where or what is happening. And it's just a matter of training those canals and learning how to work with that. But you can do that as well. That's not an obstacle. You do not have to be able to see. Some people see, some people feel, some people hear, some people smell, some people have combinations of several. Yeah, and it's all good.
Yeah, I've seen the effect of these beings around me without seeing or hearing them. But there are times when I can distinctly feel the what I might call the gravitational effect of their presence in the world, an event, let's say. Like, for example, being in a car accident and experiencing, as soon as the car came to a stop, a bubble, literally, and a felt experience of a bubble popped, and I found myself completely unscathed in the
Wow.
middle of a rolling car accident. So I've had numerous experiences like that, which have overwhelmingly convinced me beyond the shadow of any doubt that I have been guided and protected a lot in my life, despite some of the very intense challenges that I've gotten to face.
Yes, I've had similar experiences, and you've been open to this. The more we open ourselves to support from the spirit world, the more it comes. They're there to help us. And you have a beautiful empathic heart and soul. I can feel it just talking to you, just seeing you here. And your gift is being able to feel and to perceive in this way.
So another aspect of soul fragmentation is the way um, occurs through the relationships that we have with other people. And you talk about how we we have parts of ourselves kind of taken by other people, and that conversely, we also probably inadvertently end up taking parts of other people with us. And then we go on our ways and unaware of this entangling dynamic that keeps us bound together in these ununderstood, unseen, unrecognized ways.
You really read my book.
Oh yeah, I read very deeply. And another aspect of this kind of shamanic approach and journey is that as I'm reading, I often, very often, get sucked down into liminal space where it's like whatever the energy or spirit of what I'm reading penetrates and gets integrated in some formless way that I'm not consciously aware of, but this happens throughout all of my reading and experiencing of and learning
Thank
in
you.
this way. And I read in bed because that's where I can easily drift or make my way. Well, I would say drift more because I'm not doing it intentionally. It just happens. I get sucked in, and it's part of my learning and integration process.
Yes.
Sort of like my meditation cushion is my bed. It's
Yes.
my platform.
I love my bed too. Very similar.
And I also have a very, very rich dream life as well,
I can imagine.
especially lately.
Yeah,
So we,
working with your dreams is a whole different shamanic topic.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's another avenue into the other realm.
Yes.
And I'm curious because you can see these things. What is the nature of this other realm? And are there more? are there other realms with an S in there? Have do you have experience beyond in ways that can help inform us about the other side?
I think so. I mean, we never know for sure. You know, there's always this remaining little bit of doubt, which I also think is good. I mean, we have our three dimensions here on Earth, and fourth dimension is considered time. And then quantum physics is assuming there's, 10, 11, 12 dimensions they can imagine through their calculations at the moment. So we are very limited in how we are able to perceive these other dimensions. And our brain, with what we see or what I see or other people or you, what we perceive, feel, it's just a way that our brain translates what is still out there. And the best way I can describe it is that it's energy. And energy in different types of vibrations and forms and experiences. And now on Earth we have this very sensual, very physical, very dense experience. It's very dense on Earth. And whenever I am able to go into the matrix, either voluntarily or sometimes it just happens in my dreams, I can feel how different it is in other dimensions. Sometimes it feels like there's a certain denseness, but it feels different. It feels like it's almost like, I would say, like how would I describe a fan? A fan that you open and fan yourself. Like you can fan open depending on what you want to do. It's much more pliable, you can do a lot more with it. And then some dimensions it feels like there's absolutely nothing. Just what I would perceive as absolute nothing. So very, very different sensations, experiences. And now at this point we're on Earth for whatever reason, and it's very dense, which has its beauty and which also has its ugliness. So I love Earth.
It's a beautiful place.
I feel strange here sometimes. Like I was just talking to somebody about that today, who was also telling me that he feels so strange here, like he doesn't belong here. I think a lot of people have that sense, but I love it. It's beautiful, and I have to admit I'm a total foodie. I love cooking and food and anything that has to do with the senses. But yeah,
That certainly helps. That helps to enjoy this world. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm the
yeah.
same way.
Are
I'm
you? Hmm.
Yeah, I'm very sensual, very indulgent in those ways. I was just reflecting on that yesterday, how, and in my family, we're all like that. We all love food and good movies, music,
Art.
art, engaging in rich, embodied living experience
Yeah,
of almost any kind, as long as it feels good
yeah,
and
exactly.
it enjoyable. And since after many years of hard work, I am in a place and have been for a while where I can really enjoy these things. I can enjoy everything without being overly bombarded with the challenges, although they are all around us on this
Yeah.
level.
Yeah, the Earth is, or let's say the humans on this Earth is actually the right thing to say, is not in a good space at the moment. We're moving through a lot of darkness, shadows, transformations. It's not a fun time, and I think key shamanism is about living in balance with nature and your surroundings. And I think key is for every person to find their balance, their purpose. Why are you here at this time? What is it that you can achieve in your surrounding, and not giving up parts of your souls to the powers that be. Yeah, you were talking about that earlier, entanglement. Yeah, people, systems, political systems, countries, certain people who take your energy because they are able to, and you are giving them these parts of your empowerment away. So staying holding your energy in, setting your clear boundaries, knowing what is right and wrong for you, and not being seduced by forces that are luring you into the game of being unbalanced powerful. Personal empowerment is very different from abusive power. That's why, I mean, we have such an issue with this concept of power, because there's a lot of negative power. But I like to use the concept of personal empowerment, because that doesn't include wielding power over another person or people in a negative way. Yeah.
Yeah, that's such a huge, huge area that we have to navigate ourselves through. I remember earlier in my life feeling a tremendous sense of power inside, but being terrified to use it
Mm,
because I saw so much abuse of power around me growing up.
exactly.
So it literally terrified me, the possibility that I could abuse it, even in ways that I couldn't even imagine
Yeah.
myself doing.
Yeah.
And yeah, it goes reflects back to those entanglements, relationship entanglements, where we are getting caught up in power dynamics, even without realizing that we're doing that with the people that we are most intimate with and that we love the most, and yet getting caught up in these me, me or them dynamics
Yeah.
rather than we integrated we dynamics,
Yeah.
intentional we
Yeah.
dynamics. You know, and again, getting back to the condition of our outer world these days, where we have people who tend to gravitate towards into the political spheres because they crave power
Mm.
and have not learned at all to understand um, the harmful side of that.
No, it's very enticing. Yeah.
You also talk about what you call intruders or possessions
Mm-hmm.
and, and energy entities that can also wreak havoc in our wholeness and cause fragmentation in us. How I have read some very interesting accounts from people who practice in that realm, and it's fascinating. It's not something that I have ever dealt with or experienced directly, but I've seen it happen to others. I've actually seen presence in other people on rare occasions, which was quite disturbing because I saw it in somebody who was very close to me and important to me at one point, and that was disturbing because it's not really my business to interfere in their process, and yet we can't help but be very concerned about them.
Of course. So again, coming back to the soul and soul retrieval, which is really the core of our energy. If parts, you can imagine it, you have a house. In this house, if you have holes in your house, critters from outside will come in. They're not necessarily bad. The frogs come in, mice, snakes, ants, whatever is being drawn into the warmth inside, the smell, the energy, the light. So you have to close the holes in your house and get them out. And if we have parts of our soul missing through soul loss, soul fragmentation, dissociation, we have holes, we have dark openings where we are more vulnerable to energies, up to all entire entities coming and attaching to us because they're able to. Somebody who has a complete soul or fairly complete, this will not happen, most likely. And that's the reason why certain people who have a lot of soul energy missing will attract these energies, or even up to entire entities or even multiple entities, because they have found a place to get comfortable. They don't know where to go. It's a lot of times also soul fragments that are missing, or negative. I mean, everybody knows the feeling. You go into a huge supermarket, shopping center, and then by the time you're done, you're exhausted and you feel like everything from everybody is on top of you. And in fact, it is. Yeah, the person you passed by who's thinking about the fight they had with their spouse or with their boss or with their kid, or issues they have, or grumpiness, or whatever it is that's going negatively through people in their mind, will go right into you like little spikes, and you have to get rid of it again, or make sure that you're so complete that it doesn't even get into you in the first place. And worst case, entire soul beings that have not found their way to the light, or wherever their soul journey is meant to go, latch onto another person. Sometimes even ancestors, somebody from our own family system who has not let go, or we have not let go of. And then you have to work with that. And multiple personalities a lot of times has to do, from a shamanic perspective, can have to do with, is caused by this issue. And again, it's once you realize it, it's not that hard to work with it, but it can be pretty spooky, and a lot of times the person will be sent on a wild chase to different therapies and taking medication, and who knows not, doesn't work, doesn't help. And then I've had that experience quite frequently, and then they do shamanic healing and it gets resolved sometimes fairly easily.
And these things can manifest in many different ways. They can manifest on psychic levels, and they can also manifest on the physical level with physical diseases, and including physical accidents can manifest out of it. So how do you work with that? Because I think this is also a very universal thing that everybody experiences at some point in their own unique ways.
Yeah. Just to give another example, somebody I worked with, they had an immune disorder, and it was...
Wait, a what?
Immune disorder.
Oh, immune. Got it. Yeah.
Immune.
I thought you said moon, so that's why I needed clarification.
No, immune, the immune system, where they were basically attacking themselves with their cells, And then we worked with the issue, and it turned out that they had a possession of a different soul being, and the body was trying to get rid of it. And then they actually did quite well after that. It took a while for the body to readjust, because once it has manifested physically, it just moves a lot slower. It's denser, but eventually they did get past it. So that was very nice, very good. Yeah. You do the process of soul retrieval. You do the process of extraction that entails removing and then doing the soul retrieval. Mm-hmm.
And how do you do that? Run us through this process in a way that feels manageable here.
Mm-hmm. So I'll describe how I do it when I work with another person. And
Well, actually, could you describe how you would do it with yourself,
with
let's say?
myself, yeah, that's what I was just going to say. And if you want to do this with yourself, there's so many exercises in this book that give how you can do this. So with yourself, like I said, certain major issues you possibly will not be able to tackle without somebody who helps you from the outside, a practitioner who's trained in this. But a lot
or at least in the beginning.
Yeah, but a lot we can do ourselves. No, absolutely, very much we can do ourselves. So you would go to a comfortable place, relax, calm down, and take a while to just really let go of all stress and tension. And then you would, first of all, visualize your soul and perceive, is it in a 3D sense, like let it rotate in front of you, and perceive where are there holes, what are, are there things in there, what is missing, are chunks missing like pizza slices? And then when you do that, you decide, do I want to just bring back now part of my soul energy, what I saw, and you can also feel it, like in people like you who do not see so much, they will feel what is missing in their soul parts. And then you decide, do I want to bring a pizza slice back of my soul, so to speak, or do I have a certain issue I want to work on? For example, somebody might have issues with finances, or with relationships, with love, something recurring, whatever, anything. And then you say that loud or quietly to the invisible world that you would like to bring back that specific soul part. It's always good to do one at a time, and you can repeat this as many times as you like, and ask for a spirit guide to come and help you. And because from the shamanic perspective, this healing is done through our intention, but through the support and aid of the spirit world. This is something in the mystery and the wonder of life, because from the shamanic perspective, we humans cannot solve certain problems in our limited mental view. We need the support of the higher realms, of the higher beings. And then a being will come, or beings, or you will feel it, and you greet it and ask if it will help you. And then once this is acknowledged, then this being will take you to where your missing soul part is, or sometimes it will go there and say, I'll do it, I'll bring it back to you. That has to do with where your soul part is, if it's safe for you to go there or not. So usually I'm able to go there, but sometimes I'm not. For whatever reason, there might be stuff going on there that is just too much for me or for you to handle, and then you allow that. And in the case that you go with it, which is the majority of time, you go to wherever it is your soul part is, and usually we will see our soul part at an age where it happened. So you might see yourself as a child or as an adult, this aspect of you, and you ask, why did you leave at the time? And then you will hear and remember what happened. This is also the point where the feelings start coming back, the memories start coming back. By the way, this is a soul dissociation is also the reason why people who have experienced severe trauma usually can't remember it. They have like a vague memory, something, it's like a shadow, but they don't remember the details because it's disconnected, because it was too much to handle. And then when you go back, you ask, why did you leave me? Then you start seeing, remembering, and then you ask, what part of me left with you? Yeah? And then it'll say, for example, trust, feeling good in my body, self-confidence, whatever it is that quality or qualities that left. And then you'll ask, do you want to come back to me? And usually the soul parts will say yes, they're happy to come back. Sometimes they're afraid that something like that will happen again. And then if that's the case, you have to go in a dialogue with them and you have to say, well, now say something happened when they were a kid, and then you tell them, well, now I'm an adult and I'm going to look after you, and I promise to you that I will not allow that something like this will happen to you again. You're safe with me. I can look after you now. And then usually, it's usually not that hard, then that they will say, yes, I'm happy to come back. Sometimes you might need the help of your helper that came, your guide. Like if you're stuck, if you don't want to know what to do, you always ask your guide and your helper for support. And then once they acknowledge, they say that they want to come back, you breathe in deeply and you feel how this part enters back into you. You can support this by imagining like a golden light bringing back this part of you, and you just enjoy the process. When it starts coming back, it's a very warm, beautiful energy of yourself returning. It's good to give yourself a hug, to really take your time, to breathe. It feels good. You start relaxing. Sometimes also it's involved with crying. And it's good to just really take your time with this and enjoy it. Yeah, and then once it's back, ask it what it needs so that it will stay with you. Sometimes you have to do something. And then slowly, slowly come back and show it your life. If a part of us comes back that left you when you were 5, and say a person is 40 now, you'll want to show them your life now to integrate it and say, okay, this is where I live now, this is what I do, these are the people in my life. And then slowly, slowly, this part will integrate with you. And I describe the whole process in my book as well. Are you still there?
And we can can you hear me?
Yeah, there's like a little, there was a jump, but now you seem to be connected better again. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. And we can go through this like thousands of times. I mean, there's
Yes.
probably many, 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 many
Yes.
fragments, some large, some small, but they all have an
Yeah.
effect on us.
Yeah, and usually in the beginning, once we start this, there's a period where we will do this a lot, like maybe it goes on for months or even for a year or two, where we just keep on doing regularly. At certain points we feel like, okay, I have to do another one, and then it starts balancing out, and then you don't need it as much as anymore, but occasionally you'll feel it when you need another soul retrieval for yourself.
Hmm. So I want to ask you about what's known or commonly referred to as shamanic dismemberment. Because what I have come to understand is that experience that I was having as a child
is a
of
dismemberment. That's what I was
was,
thinking when you
yeah,
told me that. Yeah.
yeah. And that's something that everybody gets to go through in some way, shape, or form. And it can
Yes.
be very, very different for different people.
Yes. Yes. So the dismemberment is a process which it's considered first of all an initiation in shamanic cultures and traditions, so that you experience this at a very young age. You said you were like 9 or 10, I think. Yeah,
Mhm.
means that you were already being initiated and prepared in some way um, at a very young age. So this speaks for the wisdom of your soul. I'm guessing you already came with a very rich soul knowledge to this planet. Otherwise, this would not have happened at such a young age. Usually, people experience this later in their life when they're able to handle it. And it's the point where it's you go through the process of being where you feel like you're going to be destroyed, maybe even die. You don't die, but you feel like it's so intense, you feel like you're about to die. It's a complete dissolving of everything you identify yourself to be with and rips it away from you, tears you apart, dismembers you to the point where you have no ego left, and to the point where you really get down to your core, your absolute basic essence. And it's very, very healing, rejuvenating. And there's a technique where you actually do that occasionally. And afterwards, I do that sometimes, I don't know, every now and then. And then afterwards, I feel very relaxed, and it gets you back on track.
I've read some accounts of people's dismemberment that were terrifying
Yes,
because
it is
they
terrifying.
they talked about it as being excruciatingly painful in a
It can
physical way,
it can be if you resist.
and were terrified to repeat it, even when they knew that they needed to do more work in that direction.
Yeah, the more you are attached, the more it will hurt. And the more you let go and allow it to happen, the quicker you'll go through the process.
Yeah, resistance seems to be a big factor.
And trust as well, trusting.
Mm.
So it's harder to do for some reason. I mean, I had to go through a lot as well in life, like most people. But for some reason, something that I always had is an incredible sense of trust that the invisible world is there to support me, the spirit world is there to support me. I never doubted it. I did question it, and I tried all these different techniques, and if it didn't work, I just forgot about it. I did question it, but I never doubted it, because what is
Mhm.
there to doubt? What is there to doubt that we have when you look up at the sky at night and you see all the stars, and it's a huge mystery, and the universe, there's nothing to doubt. It's just there, and we're a tiny little part of it. So that's why I think it's made it easier for me in some ways. But I have worked and observed again and again people who do not have this trust for whatever reason. That there's also usually a reason why, and then you first have to work with this trust. And if you don't have this trust, that's what causes the pain. That's what causes
Mhm.
the resistance. And once you get through to the trust, then the transformation is wonderful.
Well, I have also felt a tremendous sense of trust on the other side. And I haven't really thought about it in that way. And it's accompanied me in all of my journeys and my orientation toward the other side, including the period of life when I was using psychedelics. I was utterly fearless, and not necessarily in a reckless way, although um, I did have one encounter that I later found out was very reckless, but because of my trust, I I came through it totally fine while others almost died.
Yes,
And
exactly.
and I've always
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah,
I've always felt very comfortable with in my relationship with the other side. I have not felt that way in this world
yes.
until much more recently.
Yeah. Yeah. It was your, it nourished you. Yeah, very similar for me. I understand that. And talking about the teacher plants, so they have different qualities, and I think a plant that really dismembers you and shows you where you're at is, for example, ayahuasca. So there are such different experiences people have. For some people, it's really a good experience, and they really have no fear and go right through it. And for other people, it's really can be very traumatic. Yeah, if it really shows you where are you at. Yeah,
And
and should be treated with caution. It really should be treated with caution. It's not something to jump into lightly and do lightly. It's good for some people and not good for other people at a certain point in their life. Can be harmful.
and I'm realizing now how that trust has actually translated into my relationship with on this level in this world as well, to the degree that when I encounter that kind of fear in other people who I'm close to, I scratch my head and go, what's there to fear? That's what I'm feeling inside. What's there to fear? We're 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 part of this loving universe that fits us like a glove. We are this inextricable part of this universe. What's there to fear? And yet I see people
Full of fear.
full of fear,
And
even though they also talk about how they're desperate to work on themselves and to change certain things, and yet they have they're still wrapped up in this fear that prevents them from even taking a real step in those directions.
yeah, it's a real
And
issue, real contemporary issue too.
yeah, but again, it's like it's something it's in their court. It's their responsibility. They have to do this on their own. Nobody can really help them in that way. I mean, they have to initiate the process themselves and invite in help. It can't it, you can't contribute until someone is requests it. And I'm I've been so guilty of wanting to help without offering advice without being asked for it. And I've learned the hard way that what a fool's errand that is.
Yeah, that's something we learn. Yeah.
Mhm. So I would love to hear about your experiences with dolphins and whales and how that fits into this, because I have always felt a tremendous affinity with dolphins. And when I was living in San Diego, right before I moved back out here, I went to the beach. I was driving by the beach and I just felt inspired to pull over and just sit on the beach. It was the evening and the sun was getting close to the horizon, and I just sat there. And from the south, I saw some dolphins swimming up the coast, just about 20 or 30 feet off the coast. And I was focusing on them and just experienced this great joy of getting to see them. And just as they passed directly in front of me, they started leaping out of the water and dancing and playing. And then after they passed me, they just continued on. So I felt like they were talking to me.
They were. They're very telepathic beings and very energetic beings. And I can imagine, I believe actually, that they are beings who are on our three-dimensional Earth, but are actually multidimensional beings because of the system of communication that they have, echolocation. They're able to perceive and communicate in a multidimensional or more dimensional way than we humans are. We're just beginners in that area. So yeah, absolutely. They're wonderful. And like you said, they make you smile. Just yeah, you talking to me, I start about them makes me smile. So that's their medicine. Medicine, as you know, shamanically is not only a pill or an herb or what the doctor prescribes. It can be also animal medicine, nature medicine, and the dolphin animal medicine is joy and lightness and love. And they are very. So I lived in Hawaii for 7 years. I still go there frequently. When our kids were in kindergarten, elementary, and part of middle school, we lived there. Now we're here to finish their high school schooling, and then I'll probably be traveling more again once they're through high school, which is not much more, 2 years about. And I swam with the dolphins thousands of times and brought people to the dolphins to experience the shamanic healing. So the purpose was not just to swim with dolphins, but to heal through the energy and the lightness and the love of the dolphins. And they're very intelligent beings. They have been on Earth much, much longer than humans. Their brain is much larger in comparison to their body size. And they bring a lot of healing. And they're trying to, I find, they're communicating with us as spirit guides, as animal guides to those of us who are open for it. For this, where there's joy and playing and laughter, there's no war, there's no fighting. Yeah, when we play, what the heck are we going to fight about? We're playing, we're having fun, we're bringing joy. And they're reminding us that again and again, it's so easy. You were talking about fear earlier. The Earth at the moment has a lot of fear issues to deal with. It's like a dark carpet on the Earth, like a dark something, even though we live in a time and age that is as resourceful as it has never, ever been before. We have the technology, we have the means, we have the communication channels, and yet humans are fearful and are fighting and are arguing. And the dolphins remind us that actually it's just fun to be on Earth. And it's so easy, but it's so hard for us humans. So that's the process that we're going through at the moment. Oh man, what the heck? But yeah, we're here to help, aren't we all?
Yeah, I love that. That's one of the things I love so much about dolphins. They really know how to live.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah, and they're very sensual, they're doing it. They're sharing love all the time. You can watch
And
them
playing
and
and
playing.
enjoying everything, taking
Yeah.
every opportunity as a way to play and to express their joy and love, even towards us insane human beings.
Yes, they do. And they have a very interesting structure of leadership. The that works that way, that it's usually elder females who have experience, and they rotate, they take turns. So it's never only one. They take turns because, man, that's not fun. You don't always want to be a leader. So they take turns, and the males, including the elder males, are the one who have the strength, are the ones who protect on the outside. So that's how their leadership works, and they rotate.
It's just we could learn so much just by paying attention to things outside of ourselves.
Yeah. Well, we will. We are, and we will more and more. We'll have to.
So, could you talk about soul fragmentation on the collective and societal levels, and working with that, and how when we heal ourselves and do this work within ourselves, how that is actually a step towards creating peace on this planet?
Exactly. So once you become whole yourself and empower yourself, you are able to understand through your own experience the dynamics that are involved in soul parts being taken by other people or systems, and then you step out of it. You just step out of this situation of continual dramas or feeling you need to have be part of a certain political organization or group to feel empowered. You just see right through it, and you gradually don't need it anymore. And political structures, systems, companies, yeah, I mean, it starts usually when or even colleges, universities, you're part of something maybe prestigious or big. You think you're more important because, let's say, classic example, Harvard, yeah, the most famous university in the world, probably. And I know it's a good university. This is in no way questioning that. But if you're a part of, let's say, something like Harvard, let's say you were not confident, somebody was not confident in high school, maybe a nerd, considered a nerd, bullied, but very, very brilliant, very smart, then you get accepted to Harvard, and this will give you confidence. This will give you a sense of security, and in exchange, you give a part of your identity, your soul, to Harvard to allow it to continue to be this big and very important university. So then to go into to make it understandable how it becomes more negative in a person's life, then you get hired by, you got a degree, did well, then you get hired by a very prestigious company. This company wants to make money. That's why it's prestigious, because it's one of the wealthiest companies, super successful, and of course doesn't have only good business practices. But you are already groomed in a place like Harvard to feel important. You're prepared, and then you're part of this big company, and now you feel even more important, and you're already used to the concept of that, okay, maybe something isn't quite right, but still it gives me so much that I'm willing to look away. And it sucks more and more of your soul parts to the point that you are not whole without it. So when people drop out or lose a job or something like that, they will have a severe identity crisis because they do not know who they are on their own without that corporation, that university, that whatever, that religion, that political party, that spouse, that country, yeah, identity with your country, nationalism. I mean, from a shamanic perspective, the earth does not belong to anybody. It doesn't belong to anybody. It's the earth.
And there are no boundaries.
There's no boundaries, and we're little critters living on it. We belong to the earth, and if she wants to, she spits us out like nothing. She's showing us that now anyhow with the climate change. So and And it's the same thing with an extreme sense of nationalism. So who are you without that? And this extreme sense with nationalism is also what causes friction between different countries and causes wars. And of course, the most extreme sense of a political system taking soul parts would be a dictatorship. That would be the most extreme part, where the dictator is like the supreme being, and everybody else needs to bow to the supreme being, the supreme leader. Otherwise, they get jailed, they lose their life. So it's pretty, that's pretty heavy. That's pretty severe. So families, if we're lucky, we grow up in a loving family. If we're not, we'll have a father who's this and a mother who's the supreme being, and if you do not do what they want, they will whip you. They will punish you. Same concept. Parts of our souls get stolen and parts of our souls get lost. And we as individuals have to learn to grow and say, no, you're not the supreme being, and I'm going to heal myself and set the boundaries. So this is what some countries have to go through. And in democracies, we also still have this process, because democracy is not always democratic. It's the closest that we have at the moment as humans to democracy, and it's not all bad either, of course not. But it's just helpful to be able to look through how these power structures work. I hope I explained this.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
No, that was good. That was great. Yeah, that's clear to me. Are there ways to do shamanic work on the collective level, or do we have to do it on our own individual level?
No, you can do collective shamanic healing. It's if you have the calling. I've done it together with other shamanic practitioners. We've done healing. Um, the more people you have involved, the stronger it is, of course. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of examples of people doing that kind of collective work,
Absolutely.
often not using the language of shamanic work, but
Yeah.
it's still
Same
the
concept.
same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, not giving in to fear, understanding that what is normal, normal is only a concept. Yeah, there's many ways of existence and they all have validity. Every form of existence has validity.
And also, even as small as we might seem in this universe or on this planet, we have an essential place in it and an effect
We do.
on the greater field.
We do. The isn't there a beautiful Chinese saying, the flapping of a wing of a butterfly causes something somewhere? I forgot what it causes, but it causes something big.
Yeah, right. A hurricane on the far side
Yeah,
of the
yeah, yeah,
planet.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So exactly, thank you. So yes, of course, it all has an effect, especially if an individual makes a big step. It really has like a ripple effect to your environment, the people, everything around you. Yeah,
And considering that we can do that in each moment, it can accumulate. That effect can have a very powerful accumulative effect on the world, because it also ripples out and affects everything and everyone around us. So this effect is cumulative.
it is,
Mm. Well, that's a hopeful note.
isn't it?
Yeah. So how can people find out about your work?
Just go on my homepage, lisarainbow.com. So I grew up in different countries and I'm multilingual. I have two passports, so that's where the rainbow comes from. That I just I've since a young age moved between different cultures and backgrounds. So lisarainbow.com.
And could you talk a bit about some of the things that you offer?
Yes. So I give seminars in trainings in shamanic healing and family constellation work, in shamanic dream work, regression past life work trainings. In 2 years I'll be doing journeys again with dolphins, whales. Here where I'm located at the moment, I also do workshops on power places where we work with the energy of certain locations. So a lot of different types of things. Yeah.
And we haven't even touched on the starseed
Yes.
aspects of
Yes.
ourselves.
Yes. This is my card deck.
So how much time do you have?
I'm good. I'm fine. As much as
Good.
time as you would like. I'm enjoying our conversation.
I am too. So let's delve into that realm. I've been aware of these other um, not sure exactly what to call it at the moment, but I've been aware of these things for many years, but have not been attracted to them until fairly recently. Over the winter, I had time, and so I decided to read some books that were also put out by Inner Traditions, people who are channeling and in connection with the Pleiadians and Syrians. So I found that very enjoyable to read, and I felt very much at home and related directly to all of it. And it was actually really a delightful experience to immerse myself in that finally, after all this time of being aware of it, but just not feeling that it was relevant to my life at the time. So could you talk about your experience in that realm and why that's significant for you in your work?
Yes. So, very similar to you. I always knew it was there, but it also didn't get really very interesting for me until when I was, I would say, in my 40s at some point. I did have experiences with star beings when I was younger, and I learned quite a bit from various indigenous teachers about it, also when I was younger, so everything before my 40s, I would say. And what really got me very interested in it more and more was when I was living in Hawaii, and the Hawaiian people and teachers I spoke to explained to me that their ancestors come from the Pleiades, and that is believed to this day. So they said, yeah, history books, Tahiti, they came in boats, it's all true, but way before that, our ancestors are actually from the Pleiades, and it's celebrated there as well. Makahiki Festival every year in the fall is a time where you can see the Pleiades with your naked eye, without a telescope, and it's celebrated, and so I got more and more interested in that, in understanding that, and then I had also had a Mayan teacher, Hunbat's men, very similar statements, and I wanted to kind of tie it all together and understand what it actually means. I was a little bit, when I was younger, I would say, I was more interested in the earth aspect of shamanism, and I was also a little bit shy of getting into it, I think, because of science fiction. I loved science fiction. I always loved science fiction movies and could totally identify with it, but I couldn't bring science fiction and shamanism together. I just didn't have the bridge at the time. And the dolphins also really opened that door for me. When I swam with them in the water, so many times, several times a week for years and years and years, and just being with them, hearing their sounds, being in their energy field, and the way their existence, it's kind of like almost without a gravity when you're around them, and almost like they're in space. You feel like when you're with them, sometimes you feel like you're in the water, and then sometimes you really get this sense of like you're flying through space. That's the best way I can describe it. And then I studied more and more and learned more and more and realized that actually our human ancestral stories from indigenous cultures going way back, the first stories, they all have stories of our ancestors in the stars. All of them. Also the Aborigines. It's really, really fascinating. It's so interesting, these stories. And then, of course, I started understanding also the experience I had with star beings when I was younger, and started reflecting and meditating and going deeper and deeper into this knowledge and information, and felt like a whole new world, like my view of the world simply expanded. Before, my view of the world until I was in my 40s was limited to the earth. And after my 40s, it started opening to also, it was limited to the earth and past life experiences. And after the 40s, when I started also getting into learning more and understanding more, bringing it all together with the star wisdom, my world view opened to also encompass the universe and different civilizations in the universe. And the reason why I think it's very important at this time, and why also many people are more and more, not just in, I would say, the alien UFO culture. Yeah, there's a whole culture, the UFO culture, which also has a lot of validity, but also the spiritual culture now is in recent years has really opened up to the star wisdom, is because from a shamanic star wisdom perspective, we are now at an age where we're moving through the so-called Pleiadic photon belt. This, according to old Mayan wisdom, is a process that happens every 12,000 years or so, cyclical, and lasts about 2,000 years. And when we move through this Pleiadic photonic belt, which is a radiation belt of energy around the Pleiadian cluster of stars, which are a lot. That's like, I think, around 800 or so. It's pretty big, pretty strong. When we move through this very strong radiation belt, the light is so strong that it brings up all the darkness. And this is what we're going through now. We're just at the beginning. And this is, according to this old wisdom, this is going to go on for the next 2,000 years. And you can imagine it's like when we move through, as our Earth, when we move through this, our solar system, we move through this Pleiadian photon radiation belt. It's like as if you would take a flashlight, a really bright torch, those super bright torches, and you shine it under your bed, and you see, oh my God, there's so much shit under my bed. There's dust balls, there's old condoms, there's old pieces of crumbled paper, there's dead ants. It's absolutely disgusting. And actually all you have to do is sweep under the bed, and it's not such a big deal. And this is what we're going through now. We're getting this from a shamanic star wisdom perspective. We're moving through this, and there's other things happening as well, but this is one of the main ones. And that's why it's so intense, and that's why it's going to get more intense, and so much fear and so much pain it's just all coming up now, and in 2,000 years it's going to be quite different from how it is now, obviously. And the best thing, and that's why I think this knowledge is really important, and why I did this card deck. and why it's good to understand why you're here at this moment and how each one of us can help create a solid basis for the earth and for us humans to move through these next 2,000 years. That's pretty much where we're at.
Mm.
I hope this
Yeah, a number of,
was
go
understandable.
ahead.
No, I just hope this
Oh,
was,
yeah,
yeah,
totally.
yeah.
Yeah, very much so. Thank you. Yeah, a number of years ago, I had this kind of realization in relation to the notion of aliens from outer space. I'm thinking, wait a minute, there's no such thing as aliens. This in this universe,
We're all
we're one
aliens.
family.
Yes, exactly.
We're all aliens,
Yes,
and we're all not aliens. Yeah,
exactly.
exactly. Yeah,
Exactly.
and, and this and this practice, this notion of wholeness, soul retrieval, bringing healing ourselves and reintegrating our parts. When we do that, what I've experienced and my sense of this whole dynamic is that when we are whole again, or we become pretty close to whole, a portal opens up that connects us to a whole vast realm of possibility beyond anything that we can imagine from this perspective.
Yes.
And that, and also realizing that is so critical at this time.
Yes.
Because right now, when we look at the issues and problems and crises we've created, even though we can imagine solutions, it's really difficult to imagine how to emerge from the the interpersonal and political and fear-based dynamics that we're so lost in, and our tendency to create solutions from those perspectives and without considering the potential effects of those solutions that may or probably could cause even worse harm. So yeah, being able to see and connect with other levels and dimensions of possibility beyond this very narrow perspective.
Yes. Exactly. Precisely. And for this, shamanic tools are very helpful.
Mm, yeah, these these tools and others as well are essential for our well-being and the health of the planet, since we have such an outsized effect on everything on this planet.
Yes. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be a wild ride,
It's going to be a wild ride. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and we're going through a what you could call a collective shamanic dismemberment at this right now.
Yes. Yes. You're right. I never looked at it that way. What a great. You're right. We are. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, that just popped up in that moment for the first time.
Yeah.
So yeah, and we need all the help we can get to stay present in the midst of this process,
To
this
stay present.
unfolding,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
And to
yeah,
trust.
and to trust. Yeah, if we can. Some of us can more than others, and there's a lot of help available.
There is. Yeah. There is a lot of help. Mm.
And I I really appreciated your book because you make it so simple and easily accessible.
Yeah, that's what the people in my courses over the decades has also always told me. They're like, "You make it so easy, and it really works." So yeah, I believe in the simplicity.
So give your website again.
LisaRainbow.com. I've had that name since I started, and I think I was around 30 or so when I started taking it out, what I learned. Yeah.
It's a great name. I love it.
Thank you.
And it's been such a pleasure to talk with you.
Same, dear Tonio, very much. And I really appreciate your pace, that you take your time, that you really go in deep. Very, very enjoyable. Thank you so much for doing this. What a
Mm,
valuable gift.
my pleasure. I love doing this.
I can
This
tell.
is, yeah, this is my part of my ongoing journey, unfoldment, and expansion. So thank you for being part of it.
Gladly. Thank you.